Ever since I was a little girl, I've always told stories. And in fact, in 5th grade, Mrs. Hamrick made the children perform my play I wrote. They had no choice. And I enjoyed it. I thought, this is good. So to this day, I'm a storyteller. I'm an executive producer. That's what I do on and off camera and at work and at home, because I get lots of calls from my production team and crew, especially the young women. And I have learned that my experiences have some value. I was like, wow, I've been through some things. And they don't have to experience it themselves to know what not to do, to be warned, or to be inspired. I have learned how to own my story and share it. Starting with one of my first lessons, how to be brave. Let me explain. A few years ago, one of my senior producers was assigned last minute an interview with 50 Cent. So she said, 50 Cent? I'm excited, but I'm nervous. I mean, he's intimidating. I know his music, but I've never seen any of his shows. I said, whoa, your interview is in an hour. You better watch some trailers because it's about his new shows. I said, you're super smart. You just have to be brave. Be brave. I said, let me tell you about the olden days back in 2005. Back in the old days. I was a producer working for CNN's special projects unit. And this unit only did specials. We did all the specials on the weekends, big specials. Well, we were working on the CNN 25th anniversary special, right? And this special looked at all the major events that had happened over the past 25 years. And so each producer kind of had their own beat, right? You're doing this, you're doing that. Well, one only specialized in the big, heavy-hitting stories, the big interviews, the politicians, the change makers. So one day, he had an emergency, and my boss said, Kristy, tomorrow you need to interview Reverend Jesse Jackson in the morning. And this was kind of late. I said, oh, wow, exciting. Civil rights icon. Awesome. Where are the questions? Well, they have not been prepared. Nothing's been researched. And, oh, he might be cranky because he was at Rosa Parks' funeral all day. And that was his dear friend. And he's catching an early flight for this interview. I said, okay. He's going to have to be brave. I borrowed a suit from a friend because I was wearing low jeans in 2005 with belts like this. And I was there bright early in the morning. I had researched all night with my cameraman. Jesse was right on time with his entourage. And when he saw me, he said, where is my normal interviewer? And I said, sir, you got me today. And I'm excited that you're here, as is the crew. I know you're exhausted. I met Miss Parks in high school. A national treasure has been lost. But I promise to make this quick and easy, only 10 questions. And we have a monitor right there that has different events that have happened. You can look and react to it. He looked at me, kissed my hand like a gentleman, and said, where are your people from? I said, I'm from Virginia. Can you sit there? So he sat down. I told the cameraman, let's go. Mic him up. And we did the interview. He was a pro. Of course he is. It's Jesse Jackson. On the way out, one of his entourage said, Kristy, that was excellent. It just made my whole everything right. It felt empowered. And to be honest, I did more hard-hitting interviews after that. Sometimes you have to learn how to be brave. That producer I told that story to, well, she's a major VP now for an entertainment brand, managing her own team. So sometimes it's good to share a story. I've also learned in owning my story how to be vulnerable. See, sometimes you have to tell a story that makes you look kind of stupid to help somebody else out. I do it all the time. I have no shame. It's facts. When I manage, I try to keep people, educated in the loop. But every now and then, there is an employee or associate that messes up royally, and they want to quit. And I'll say, well, I should fire you for what you did, but I've been there, made mistakes. I usually tell this story. Back in the even older days, like '03, I was working on SportsCenter, ESPN. I was Legally Blonde there. You know the movie? I had all pink all the time. I drank coffee out of, sipping straws. And they would go, what the, A lot of the guys, not all, but there was a large chunk that did not want me there. They didn't want me there. It's not like it is today where there's lots of women sportscasters and women producers. No, it was different. And one day they assigned me the hardest assignment on SportsCenter, the top 10. It literally takes all day, no lunch, to put that thing together. Especially then, if you're not talking digital, we're talking tapes and film sometimes. So it's a harder process. They assigned it to me, top 10 greatest athletes of all time. I said, okay, it's a lot. I got it. I got this. Okay. And you have 6 hours. Go. So I remember writing the script, sending it to the anchor. His name is Michael Greenberg. He's awesome. He's famous, Michael Greenberg. I said, please voice it. Send it back to me. I ran to the library. ESPN is a large campus. That's where I know Crystal from. He introduced me. It's a large campus, even larger today. It's like a college campus. Running, getting tapes, looking at them, picking the best shot, working with the music supervisor, get the best music, making it funny, all this stuff that goes into it, right? And they assigned me the only editor in the whole place that did not know sports. He's reading The Hobbit. I love The Hobbit. I love The Hobbit, but I'm a nerd, I'm a fantasy nerd. But he's reading The Hobbit in the edit bay, feet up. He said, I don't know sports, but I can edit. I said, oh, Lord. So we're working, and he said, where's the voiceover? We can't do that. I don't know. So Michael Greenberg, he sends it. It's like, we're looking at a 6 o'clock show. It's like 4:45. I'm like, oh, my God. So Greenie, as we called him, said, hey, KJ. That's what they called me. Great script. I changed a few things at the end. I changed your number 1. I said, oh, okay. Thank you. So we're editing and putting things together. And I said, well, who does he have at number 1? Well, he had Jim Thorpe. I had I think, Jordan or something. And so I said, who is Jim Thorpe? I was ignorant. And so I told the editor, keep working. I'm going to run to the library because now we're 30 minutes out. And I need to find a video of Jim Thorpe. So I ran. I told the librarian, I don't have time to look myself. Please give me a shot of Jim Thorpe. He said, here you go. 1 minute. And I said, okay. Ran back. We're now 15 minutes to go. The control room is calling me. My producers, KJ, where is it? We've been teasing this the whole show. Your spot goes live in 14 minutes. I'm on it. I got it. I said, put the tape in. Slides the tape in. Jim Thorpe is a golfer with plaid pants, distinguished, Jerry curl. It's the 80s. I said, this is the greatest athlete of all time. No disrespect. I looked at the editor. He said, I don't know. Are we talking about Wizards here? I said, oh, God. I said, oh, my God. And look, it's 10 minutes. I said, just put it in. I can't have a black hole. Oh, God. I ran it in. They popped the tape in. Barely made my slot. Made it. I slink back into my edit suite, and I could hear the guys, in the newsroom, right? At number 10, it's on the intercom. They have things blasting loudly, right? This person, at number 9, at number 8, the guys are going, wow, whoa, didn't know you had it in you, KJ. Oh, she's a beast. Oh, it's looking good. At number 1, Jim Thorpe. Silence, gasp, anger. I think it was Dan Patrick. He loves me. Dan Patrick said that is not the famous Native American all-around athlete competed in the 1912 Olympics, swimming, football, basketball. That's not him. That's the golfer from the 80s. We pride ourselves on accuracy. We are so sorry. On the loudspeaker, everybody can hear it, Kristy effing Jones coming to my office. So you had a bad day. It's terrible, awful. The next day I'm in the meeting, shades on in the back. Kristy, you're doing the top 10 again. What? Why? Why are you trusting me? What? Again, you. So, of course, it was flawless. It was awesome. It was great. But I learned some things. I learned to double check anything anybody gave me. I learned to tell the anchors to be more empowered and say, I need this earlier. Please don't make any changes unless you tell me earlier. I also got some knocks on the edit bay from some of the guys. Hey, KJ, do you need some help? We usually work in threes on this project. And the next 2 years were awesome. I made a lot of good friends. And upon leaving, nobody wanted me to leave. They're like, oh, don't go, anchors, producers, APs, talent, don't go. I said, well, I've got a better opportunity. I'll miss you guys. But on the goodbye banner, as is an ESPN tradition, everybody signs it, right? Someone wrote, we'll miss you, Jim Thorpe. You jerks. But later I would be in the position where I could hire some of them and give them job recommendations. You don't know how it's going to turn out. Sometimes be vulnerable. Third, but never last, I have learned how to be resilient. I have worked in some very hostile territories. I have a particular place in mind right now. There was a small station that was awarded $147 million from the FCC. See, they had a lot of airwaves, that's in layman's terms. And you can use that for cell phones and such. So the FCC said, hey, we'll give you this money. Two caveats. You have to produce original programming, and you have to build a new studio. Well, they didn't know how to do either of those. So I was part of a small team like Ocean's 11. We all had skills, a particular set of skills. And we all descended upon, it was a 2-year contract. And I was over original programming. I was a director. So my thing was to hire new people, deal with all of that, to produce these shows. They're going to be international, right? They made it hard for me, the folks that were already there. Understandable. Station had been there since the 50s. People don't like change. And they had never done a TV series or a streaming series. They did trailers and people talking like on camera, talking heads, right? Nothing like creative. So they gave me a hard time, even in meetings. And I hired a team of 20 to join in with them because I didn't want to lay anybody off. It made it very hard. I fell in love with this couple behind me because in the 10 shows that I led the development of over the 2 years, it's one of my favorites, this unscripted show. They were a family that created things from scratch. That's what it was called. They baked things and cooked things from their garden, and they were craftsmen. They built things from wood, and they did a lot of this for nonprofits, shelters. Oh, well, no one likes that show idea. We don't like it. We hate it. Who's going to watch? Well, it ended up winning an Emmy Award, as well as another program from the 10 we did. And some of the people there now are working for networks and production companies because they got trained with the people that were brought in. So sometimes you got to stick to your guns and be resilient because you don't know how that story is going to end. And if you don't stick it out, it doesn't benefit you or anyone else, right? So you got to own that story. That's me. It's one of them, but that's what that particular team. I have learned from owning my story how to be brave, how to be vulnerable, and how to be resilient. And I implore you to do the same thing because we all have a story to tell, and what you've experienced may help someone else. After all, only 24% of media is women. We're not telling our stories as much as needed. That's from Global Media. Check my stat. I love sharing my story. Please tell me yours. That's my information from my production company. 2 guys told me I couldn't have a production company. I have one. And yes, it is my wedding anniversary today. My hubby's somewhere in the audience. Thank you for your time. Thank you to Ziva Voices.